Evil Redress Commission. Crumbs at redressright.org.
Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents, sorry. This video is going to be talking about exactly what we just told you we were going to talk about in the last video. We're going to be talking about, are you lost at... Now this should not be SEA, it should be SEE, because we talked about the Holy See. Holy cow! For those of you who don't know about the Holy See and what the Holy See entails, we will post it, TheHolySee, and then we're going to put those in quotation marks because we're looking for something specific. Okay? So we're going to do a Google search on the Holy See. Now, we've told you in our last video about the OIG, Office of Inspector General for the United States Department of Agriculture, 1400 Independence Avenue Southwest. This is the address. Why do you want the Investigations Department? Because they do things like investigations and audit regional offices, national and regional offices, a map of all OIG offices. So we showed you in the last video the website, and now let's show you where you can go. We told some people where they could go in our last video, but we're not saying that to you. You don't actually have to go there. But here is the information. USDA.gov/OIG/index.html. Now that's one of the addresses. Let's give you another one. Let's give you this exact address. Copy. This is the contact website address. Let's do that. Do you see it? OIG/contact.htm. If I said HTML the last time, I apologize. I'm just so used to saying HTML. I apologize to y'all. Didn't mean to offend anybody. All right. Well, we're going to save this page at the bottom for posting Skype comments and some of our YouTube comments. Now, because these are general comments that are left, I don't have a problem showing them to you. So what we're going to do is we're going to... Oh, they didn't pop up. We're going to let them pop up. Let's talk about, are you lost at sea? Well, are you? I don't know. Well, now we're going to help you find out. You know, the authors are unnamed to protect their lives. I did a show with Angela Stark yesterday, and there was some concern about whether or not I wanted to say to all of you who I was, whether I was going to try to hide and protect my anonymity. Then somebody asked a question about my lawsuits and said that they wanted proof. Well, there is a non-disclosure agreement usually signed in all settlements. A majority of 60% of most of my cases that I have filed have been settled because that was my intention. I'd rather threaten a jury trial before an attorney and let him figure out whether or not a jury's going to be happy with a corporation or not. Who knows? David against Goliath. It has worked in years past. Admiralty questionnaire. Have you requested and acquired certified copies of notices of tax liens under the Internal Revenue laws from the county recorder? Front and back forms? Do you have copy of any notices of levy? What is the total amount of dollars of the property taken levied to date? How long has the IRS been making demands? Now this is regarding people dealing with IRS issues at the top here. Do you have or have you acquired a certificate of search from the United States District Court in the district court where you live? Has the IRS, that question mark goes up here, but has the IRS conducted a tax sale of your property? Has quiet title action been filed against your property? Well, let's answer these questions. Let's find out if we are lost at sea. Now, this is a 63-page document that you can find at redressright.org/PDF. That's right. Redress Right. Okay, we got to make it smaller. There we go. Now, this is a simulation page I have, which is from the International Monetary Fund. International Monetary Fund, Washington, D.C., 2043-1. Okay. Cable address, enter fund. Mr. Simmer, we have received a summons in the above-mentioned civil action, signed by the deputy and dated April 3rd, 1995, requiring the International Monetary Fund to answer the complaint filed by Mr. D. Vern Chadwick in this action. Article, that's 9, subsection 3 of the Articles of Agreement of International Monetary Fund, which has been give full force and effect in the United States by Bretton Woods Agreement Act, or Breton. Look, I just pronounce Burton. People, I don't even know how to look and see my own name in a word. Of USC subsection 28. Now, I don't think it's subsection 286. I don't think USC codes, but it could be 288. Well, anyway, immunity from judicial process. The fund, its property, and its assets, wherever located and wheresoever held, shall enjoy immunity from every form of judicial process except to the extent that expressly waives this immunity for the purpose of any proceeding and or term of any contract. No, nobody can have blanket immunity. It doesn't work that way. It never did. Furthermore, Executive Order 9751 of July 11, 1946 designated the International Monetary Fund as a public international organization entitled to enjoy certain privileges, exemptions, and immunities under the Internal or International Organization Immunities Act. International Organization Immunities Act. Didn't know it existed. And statute at large. It says international organizations shall enjoy the status and immunities, exemptions, and privileges set forth in this section. Sprite. International organizations shall, to the extent consistent with the instrument creating them, process the capacity. Let's see what capacity they're going to process. Processed food is not good for you. The capacity to contract, to acquire and dispose of real and personal property, to institute legal proceedings. The international organization, their property and their assets, wheresoever located, by whomsoever held, shall enjoy the same immunities from suit in every form of judicial process as enjoyed by foreign governments, except to the extent that such organizations may expressly waive their immunity for the purposes of any proceeding and or term of any contract. As you can see from above, the summons cannot legally be issued against the fund and is being returned herewith. Aww. Very truly yours and signed by Joan S. Powers, Senior Counsel. She was so polite and present. She didn't give any stupidity or treat him like he didn't know what he was doing. For over 6 years, the authors and researchers of this project have reviewed hundreds of pounds of material, traveled over their countries, and interviewed persons within and without the government about the current apparent disregard for our Constitution and God-given rights. Because the innumerable man-hours, this research team has uncovered a different and convert modus operandi, method of operation. And this mode or method of operation or MO, has been to conduct a type of quiet to conduct a type of quiet was against the people of. That doesn't make any sense. Oh well. The authors present this information as education material only and do not. Okay, we don't need to read that. We're not educating ourselves only. We're educating the world. This book has no copyright. You may copy and share the information with all who may be in need. The authors operate under 2 commandments. Oh, love God and love his kids. That was a pretty interesting thing to add. Oh well. P.S. Watch for sharks. Blue skies, no seagulls, or wear a hat. Clear sailing. People, I actually like that little bit of sarcasm right there. These look like these gentlemen may have been cut from the same cloth as yours truly. Chapter 1, The Lamb to Slaughter. Now, we're going to finish that in just a moment. I got to go and get me some more Sprite. Un momento. Now, many of you have seen this document before, so for you it would be just a review, and hopefully you might pick up something new from it. But it says to ask yourself how many people each year lose their property, and how often a family is broken up. Sometimes there's even loss of life as a result of actions of an agency, known as the Internal Revenue Service or any of the other agencies. No matter what your answer is, just one such loss is one too many. It seems that there is no way to stop the damage to our country, family, and lives. No. Put yourself into the equation. The equation must balance. The IRS has begun to send you a letter to demand money that is beyond your means. Then, while you are in the middle of distress, Al Smith tells you how to stop the IRS. In order to have this information, it will cost you a few $100,000 quadrillion. Al Smith is not a real person, but a composite of several so-called pirates. I don't want to say patriots. Pirates for profit. This whole process is new to you. At this point, you still trust the folks at the IRS, and you try to work out your problems. So, like thousands before you, you make a trip to your local IRS office and explain that someone has made a mistake. Although you do not know the tax laws, there is something very wrong. The IRS agent, smiling from ear to ear, tells you that you can handle that tax issue easily. Pay the tax. You again explain, and to deaf ears, that you do not have the money, which they claim, nor do you ever make enough money to have been charged with such a tax. So your friend, the IRS agent, because they're there to help you, tells you that you can pay the tax, and then you can sue the IRS, or that you can petition the tax court. Whew, that's a lot of work for you, isn't it? Of course, you can also file bankruptcy. After this experience, you remember that Al Smith was there, and so you call him up, and Al gives you more information than you could handle at first, but you rely on him. Al will lead you out of all these tax problems. All you have to do is send a few letters out, pay Al for all his secret knowledge, and claim the Fifth Amendment. A lot of people are in jail because they went to Al. At this point, Al is a hero. Then the IRS seems to go into overdrive, and events happen which overcome your senses. The boss at work receives a letter from the government. The boss does not understand why he must send all or the biggest part of your pay to the IRS. All he knows is that if he does not, he will lose his business. This same action takes place at the bank, the credit union, etc. Al has no answer. He doesn't have an answer, but he has an answer. Send another letter and all will be well. But nothing happens. A few weeks... I know I've never read this letter before, but I understand it. A few weeks later, a letter arrives from the government. After opening the brown envelope, manila, you discover a notice of tax lien under revenue laws. Quickly, you rush to the phone and you call Al. Hey, Big Al. Well, he sends you another letter to stop the problem. Secure in your belief that Al knows what he's doing, you follow his instructions. You go on about your business, except that now no pay is coming from work. But by this time, you have read all the information that Al has sent you, and you find that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of people out there just like you who know the truth. But the courts, the local sheriffs, and members of Congress, and even church leaders refuse to hear the truth. It's not that they refuse, it's just that they don't want to listen. Several months pass, you change jobs, and a few dollars are beginning to come in. Al has suggested that you do away with your driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, and marriage license. You have learned that all those documents, numbers, etc., are meant to make you a slave. The more you study, the more you are convinced that you know the truth, and despite the outcome, you can never go back to believing in the government or any institution that supports this type of outlaw activity. You have become a patriot. You have become a tax protester. You do the best you can to share the information with everyone who will listen. It causes you grief. But you know that your cause is just. While you are sitting at your computer writing letters to your congressman telling him of your belief and frustration, there is a knock at the door. An IRS agent hands you a notice of seizure. They intend to sell your home at an auction in about 4 months. Quickly, you call Al. A recorded message comes on the phone. The number you have dialed is no longer in service and there is no new number. Please check the number and dial again. 1,000 thoughts go through your mind. What has happened to Al? None of your friends have met Al. You have met at Al's meetings, know where he is or what is going on. It seems that their major concern at this time is the number of black helicopters in the sky and army vehicles seen on the freeway. What about food shortage? And do you have guns and ammo? The sale takes place, but nothing changes. You remain in your home. Several months pass. The sheriff shows up at your door with some IRS agents and another person, someone you have never met. This person who purchased your home at the tax sale, and you are then forced off your property at gunpoint and told if you try to come back into your home, you'll be arrested or shot. Everything in the home now belongs to the person who purchased your home. That is a shame, isn't it? And no one knows where Al is. You are now broke. You're sick emotionally and physically. Your spouse and children have left you. The neighbors think that you're a criminal. What do? For $49 plus tax, you can get a book that explains how to get everything back. So after collecting aluminum cans to gather the money, you open the post office box and send off the postal money order for the book. It's a happy day when the book arrives. You open the book to the forward and you are shocked. It is signed by Al. Al is everywhere, isn't he? By this time, you are hurting so badly that you do not know to whom you should turn or to who to believe. You talk to your church leader. This thing says larder, but it's leader. And he explains that the government does not take anyone's property without good reason. After all, are you not to render unto Caesar's, except when it conflicts with God's laws? Remember, most churches are corporations, 501c3. That's true, because by law they have to be. Just like every corporation that presents a Bible must be part of a Bible society. the William Tyndale Society, the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society. In order to publish a Bible, you must be part of a Bible society. So most churches are in fact corporations. Why? Because they take in donations. And because they take in donations to get those tax breaks, they have to file under 501c3 or 508, like the Catholic Church. Well, you file a lawsuit in the federal district court against the IRS agents and the United States government. You have acquired material from friends and the money to file the suit. Documents are exchanged back and forth between you and the court. You have put all of your emotion and beliefs on paper. Every fiber of your being knows that you are right. Yet before the case ever goes to trial, you have been declared a frivolous tax protester, and your case is dismissed without hearing. The courts threaten you with fines, etc., if you ever file another suit in federal courts. Yes, that has happened to some people. This foregoing nightmare has been repeated hundreds of times across the country. Of course, there are some things that are in common and some things that do not match everyone's particular situation. That goes without saying. For example, in our little story, we did not petition a tax court, nor did the 90-day letter, notice the deficiency, this was discussed. We did not talk about bankruptcy issues, although many people flee to bankruptcy court to escape this disaster. What we intend in this book to introduce to you all for your consideration is a new review of activities of the IRS and a possible remedy to this seemingly impossible situation, which is destroying our country. It is hoped that our courts and responsible people in government may still have the moral courage to stand up for what is right in these dark days. Now, this was in the 1990s that this was written. So how much more dark have the days become from then to now? Isn't that interesting? I am taking off my jacket, but as I do so, I am looking at a police car. The windows are so tinted that I cannot even see in the car. It's one of those undercover automobiles. But you can't have tint on your cars. It's against their statutory laws. Let's continue, people. Since the chances of winning in court are limited, depends on your strategy, we must look to different areas of law to see if any possibility has been overlooked. Also, we must not rely on Al any longer. No, Al is long but since gone. We must check every document and every position presented to us in order to understand the process. Now, what do they say? Well, the question is how? Is it that the IRS can take away property and the United States Constitution is powerless to protect us? The answers may be found in a study of international law, Admiralty Maritime. Understood? Here we go. Most people have some understanding of the different types of laws, such as criminal or civil. For example, as this being written, O.J. Simpson's trial is on TV. Talk radio seems to like nothing more than the O.J. soap opera. The circus deals with criminal law. Civil law has been used when dealing with tort claims, such as a fender bender or your property rights. Very few people, including attorneys and ever the courts, have an understanding of Admiralty Maritime law. The Supreme Court of the United States declared, to the extent that Admiralty procedures differ from civil procedures, it is a mystery to I think that would be moot trial or appellate judges. I don't know what that's supposed to say. And to the non-specialist lawyer who finds himself sometime in his surprise involved in a case cognizable only under Admiralty aside of the court. Admiralty practice, said Justice Jackson. is a unique system of substantive laws and procedures with which members of the court are singularly deficient in experience. Black Diamonds, SS Corporation versus Stewart and Sons. Why don't we look that up to get what the Supreme Court had to say with an admiralty case? And that's what this is going to talk about, how to stand in admiralty. It is any wonder why the state courts do not have any concept of admiralty process when the rules against you in favor of the purchase of an IRS tax lien and quiet title action? Note more on this later. Let's go on. The federal district courts are accustomed form in which an action of admirable are tried and or the absence of some special reason, therefore no effect should be made to divert this type of litigation to judges unless experience in the file, I believe that's field. Now, before we start looking at very actions as an admiralty action, we need to consider the following. Their jurisprudence. Admiralty. Limited. Admiralty is limited jurisdiction depending on its existence and whether or not the cause involved is an admiralty or maritime issue. There is no statutory definition for admiralty jurisdiction, and the difficulties attend every attempt to define the exact limits. The extent of admiralty jurisdiction is conferred by the Constitution and is not limited by scope or admiralty jurisdiction as it's existed under English law. Nor was it intended as far as the admiralty jurisdiction of this country is to determine the light of Constitution or the laws of Congress and the decision of the Supreme Court. At this point, you may be asking yourself, what does this have to do with the IRS and tax laws? That's like a bunch of gobbledygook. Well, we'll keep that in mind. When an action has been filed against you in court, it is necessary to file in the proper jurisdiction and venue. HUDREST, the huntress. Let's read this and see what it says. And then what I'm going to tell you, redressright.org /PDF has this document. This is Are You Lost at Sea? Okay, the document is up there. You can go and look at it for yourself. But we're going to read this section, and then we're going to let you get back to your lives. In this country, revenue cause has so long been the subject of admiralty cognizance, recognized under admiralty, that Congress considers them as civil causes of admiralty or maritime jurisdiction. And to preclude any doubt that might arise, Congress considered these words to be used in a sense that they bear on this country and not in which they had in England. So in other words, they don't have the same meaning in this country as they had in England. They go on to say, the Act gives exclusive admiralty maritime jurisdiction to district courts as a court of the law of nations, but in cases where the court of common law have already exercised concurrent jurisdiction, the jurisdiction is not admiralty and was never intended by the Constitution to be exclusive, though the subject matter be maritime. The common law, and of course the sense in which the technical words of that law are used, was never enforced in this country. Wait, the common law and the course of sense in which the technical words of the law were used were never enforced in this country any further than it was adopted by common consent or by legislator. Beyond this, it was as much a foreign law as that of France or Holland. Although this case is from 1849, it is still in operations today. Reread the opening line again. Revenue causes, the subject of admiralty. The first line, I don't see. Oh, revenue causes has so long been the subject of admiralty. The dealing with the IRS, I see what they're saying. When you're dealing with the IRS, you're dealing with admiralty because they are a foreign agency based out of Puerto Rico. Let us move ahead to this country. For those readers who are concerned about the old law, take note of the case from a recent past, United States of America versus $3,976.62 in currency. 1. 1960 Ford station wagon serial number. Although presumably for the purpose of attaining jurisdiction, actions for forfeiture under revenue laws are commenced as proceeding in admiralty. After jurisdiction is obtained, proceedings take on the character of civil action at law, and at least such stage of proceedings, Rule of Civil Procedure Code. Has the light started to come on, or are you still in the dark? The point is made clear that all revenue cases are admiralty. How do I know it's going to say that? I don't know. Revenue activity is controlled by admiralty. The Supreme Court often quotes Benedict on admiralty, and it seems if the highest court of the land quotes from it, then we should take note. 1. Benedict. 6th addiction. As no other than a court of admiralty can enforce maritime liens, no other court can displace, discharge, or subordinate them. Neither the state court nor the United States courts on their common law, equity, or bankruptcy sides can divest, transfer, to proceed or adjudicate the maritime lien unless maritime lieners voluntarily submit themselves to the jurisdiction. You have to voluntarily submit. Let us now examine the Notice of Federal Tax Lien Internal Revenue Laws. Turn the document over and what you will see is United States versus. If you do not find this in the notice, which you have, keep in mind, in some countries, the recorders do not record the backside of the document. The IRS usually will not send the complete document to you. It is very important that you find such a document because the backside we will find the lien has been filed pursuant to 266321. What does that mean? It is now generally held that tax claims under 2616 or 6321 upon all property and rights of the property, whether real or personal, rank below all other maritime liens. They rank below all other maritime liens. Open a copy of Black's Law Dictionary to NREM. You will see something that may shed some light on the above quotation for Benedict Admiralties. NREM, a technical term used to designate proceedings or actions, a proceeding against a thing. It is true that, in a strict sense, a proceeding in rem is one taken directly against property and has for its object the disposition of property without reference to the title of individual claimants. It is possible that the notice of lien is an in rem action. Or is it possible? Unless someone can come up with a better idea or another reading of the notice, it clearly states rights to property. Okay, now, not confusing to me, I get it. I'm just trying to figure out how to explain to you. All tax cases are done under maritime admiralty law. They're not done under the United States Code. That's why the judges usually don't listen to you. However, what this document is telling you is that you can act in admiralty. It is a 69-page document. We've only covered 14 pages. And we're going to stop here at the 14th page, and we're going to definitely suggest that you, when you get an opportunity, go to redressright.org/PDF and go to Are You Lost at Sea? And you will find the information pertinent to you. Alright, that was the gist of this particular video. We just wanted to talk about Are You Lost at Sea? And you see this never came up. But we still got 19 minutes. You know what? I think there's a problem. I think there is a problem. I think we may have been thrown off the net because it's been 19 minutes for the last, and I hate coming to McDonald's. I truly do hate coming to McDonald's. Do you see this right here? We were thrown off the net and it never gave us any warning. Never gave us any warning, and I should have realized that when that page did not pull up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the type of day I'm having when you have to sit up here and Wi-Fi tether. It says that you is connected. So let's see if this is going to pick up, because the upload never finished. And so now I got to check to see. And so we're going to let all of you go. I want to thank you for visiting us here at the Legal Redress Commission at redressright.org, youtube.com/user/redressright, and the thctrust.org. Got several new videos up, the collaboration of the THC Trust and the Redress Right web channels. Please, everyone, we ask that you have a good day, good night, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, whatever it is, may it be good.
You know, Bob, frankly, I've never seen anything like this. I mean, the Legal Redress Commission is in a class by itself. I mean, the amount of material that they cover is just amazing. I mean, that they cover everything from debt collections to showing people how to gain their executorship, how to sit up there and secure their rights. I've never seen anything like this. And look at the referee. Look at the referee. He's just giving them a talking to. I've never, ever seen anything like this. Wait. Let's listen to the ref.
You hear what I'm saying?
He's got the whole audience paying attention to him. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's